I'm Gary Venner, CEO of IFA Acquisitions, and I'm joined by Gemma Irvine, who's the HR lead and director of HR People Support, who run trusted outsourced HR partner support, where we continue our informative question and answer series on our YouTube channel to provide insights into helping buyers and sellers understand the benefits of using HR specialists for the buying and selling of IFA businesses for sound HR advice. The title of the next video is coming up on the screen now.
So when you're starting an acquisition process, what's one fundamental element that you would be advising on buyers or sellers?
If I narrowed it down to one, it would be open and transparent, and that goes for both parties. Let's inform what the business is really like, and if you stick to being open and transparent throughout the entire process, the deal will go through smoothly. For some, whether you're a buyer or a seller, is knowing what the process looks like. And I'd say that's where really there's a massive benefit in making sure that you surround yourself by trusted advisors, particularly in the space of IFA acquisitions. You might have a fantastic relationship and done many transactions with a solicitor or indeed your accounts, but if they're not familiar with the buying and selling of IFA businesses, they may not be the best individuals this time. So I would say, and if you go to a good broker that has many years experience of conducting deals with a really strong number of buyers and sellers, they're going to have that experience as well, and they will be able to guide the buyer or the seller on whether they feel that there are others out there that could help them to be in their trusted support team. You do need a lawyer that understands that sales and purchase process to understand the deferred consideration. Very few industries have this deferred consideration, which is over 2-3 years. So having that knowledge is really important. Also understanding the HR issues as well. Again, in this issue, but understanding the TUPE and what those requirements are, and particularly in this regulated industry, over fit and properness and how the contracts align, and also having good tax advice as well. Very often an IFA sale will either be an asset or a share purchase. Really important that accountants understand the different taxation, particularly with business asset disposal relief. But also there are the myriad of different ways because of how the entity is set up, whether it's a sole trader or partnership, which qualify. An LLP qualifies, but at a limited company, then it needs to be the shares that are sold and not the assets. So having, again, a good understanding, but also, and we did this in a previous series, is actually making sure that you understand there are other ways to do taxation. So having trusted advisors around you will certainly help.
So just to finish off, my last question to you, Gary, is what is the best indicator of success?
Well, the ultimate indicator, Gemma, will be probably 2 to 3 years' time. Did the sale achieve what it's supposed to achieve? How close did the deal get to 100% consideration value that was referred to in the contract? And that will generally prove that clients were happy and they stayed. If there were staff involved, it's normally likely that they were happy and they stayed. Also important, I always think, for a vendor is if they meet their clients 2-3 years down the line, that they're going to be very excited to hear how happy they've been well looked after, because a lot of clients become really good friends and sometimes family members as well. So it is important that all your lifelong work, because many will have looked after those clients for tens of years very often, they feel that they did what they were supposed to do. They trusted them for their investment and pension advice previously, and hopefully they trusted them well that they found the right acquirer for the business. So that is the ultimate test. I think in the earlier stages, it's also about being timely and having information to back up, so that, you know, making sure that at each stage that the validation is there of what was claimed to be. So whether that's the funds under management, it was the recurring income, it was the staff, and, you know, how good the staff are, etc. It's just making sure that that's all validated, and that, you know, we can supply that.
Absolutely, and I think one of the factors that you mentioned there was around kind of the looking longer term. I think with these processes, there's so much work and so much support and complexity that goes into kind of getting to that transfer date. Often actually that's when the hard work starts, in terms of the integration and making sure that staff are happy and clients are happy as you move forward in your existing business.
Yeah, and I think, you know, culture can sometimes be neglected. You know, deals can concentrate far too much sometimes on the consideration value and the multiples of recurring income, whereas actually the culture is vitally important, because the consideration could easily disappear if that culture is not there. And so, you know, from the beginning, it needs to make sure that that isn't neglected, and there's not too much emphasis on making sure that the targets around uplifts or whatever are taking precedence over building strong relationships. You know, strong relationships need to be made with the staff, because they'll stay. Strong relationships with good staff, with the clients, to make sure that they're happy, that any changes are bringing added value, because there will often be changes in an acquisition. You know, to think there's going to be no change is often, you know, being naive. But change doesn't have to be bad change. There can be good reasons that a client is in a better position, and that just needs to be communicated. And it's about getting that culture of making sure the communication process is really strong, that people understand why things are happening and that you can see a benefit. And if you do that, then I think a deal will go through incredibly successfully.
I completely agree. Thank you, Gary.